Oh, hello. I'm Councillor Maurice Eglin.
Councillor Leon Gibbs.
We'd like to welcome you to the first very proper episode of Reform Not Quite on the Sofa.
Not on the sofa at all. We're Reform on the road today because we have a very special guest.
Yes. So on that note, we move over to our guest. That made it awkward, but you can edit that out.
Councillor Chris McGiffen, member of the executive at Northamptonshire Council. Thank you for joining us on our very first episode.
Thank you. And the reason that we're on the road is I have the dubious honour of having the portfolio for highways and all things travel.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me.
Very welcome, and thanks for coming to see us.
We are absolutely going to get into the pothole situation because I know a lot of people have
Big questions,
big questions about that. We do have some answers for you. But before we get to that, we want to learn about Chris McGiffen. We want to learn about why he's joined Reform. We want to learn about what his plans are for his ward. And then we're going to get into the potholes. So, Councillor McGiffen.
Thank you.
Why did you join Reform? Why are you part of the revolution?
Yeah, give us a rundown how it all started and how it began.
I've had an interest in politics most of my adult life, I guess. And that is because I learned quite early that politics affects everybody and everything you do. Somebody once said to me, "What do you mean you don't vote?" Not me, by the way. You know, the pubs close at 10:30 on a Sunday night. That's politics. The decision that affects your everyday life is politics. So I've had an interest for a long time, but I've always worked full time. I've had some very, very demanding jobs. I've worked across the planet doing similar sorts of things that I can utilize in my portfolio. But in 1999, my political hero, Martin Bell, was elected in Cheshire after Neil Hamilton's Cash for Questions there.
Yeah.
And he was elected he was an independent. He used to be the BBC's war correspondent. Always wore a white suit, you know?
Yeah.
Some of you will remember him. And I was always impressed because he wasn't affiliated to any party. And he was elected on the premise that I'm standing for a single issue, and that was, I don't want to see my cottage hospital in Winsford or in Cheshire, where he stood. He didn't want to see his cottage hospital closed down. And that was the intention. He was duly elected, served a full term in Parliament. A year after he was elected, we closed down his cottage hospital because they'd invested hundreds of millions building a much larger hospital further afield to serve a much wider electorate. Made me realise that as an independent, you've really got no authority.
Yeah.
So it struck me that I couldn't vote for any or support the mainstream parties. And that's been justified for what's gone on the last 14 years and effectively since Tony Blair and the non-UK focused policies that I find unsatisfactory. I'm being polite here. So I retired in 24 and I have been the kind of guy with the sort of role that wakes up at 6, starts the day then, finds out what's gone on overnight. I'll deal with that later. That's not important. That's not important. Then you do the day, then you come home and it's much the same. I've been a dawn till dusk sort of exec most of my recent working life, 20 or 30 years. Then to have nothing.
I bet that was quite a shock for you.
That was impossible. So, it drove my wife mad as well. I then started to get into the reform revolution, liked the noises that we were making, spoke to me as a person by virtue of the fact that you have an element of party support, but the party speaks the sort of language I recognize as what's the word I'm looking for? As common sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always been a practical guy. So common sense kind of rules my life, that and maths. And I'll come back to maths in a minute. Therefore, I thought somebody has got to stop the lunacy that's taking place at the top of government. Might as well be me.
And you've come from a huge background in business, I gather.
Uh-huh.
And if you are running a business and the business is struggling financially, what would you do with that business?
I would avoid spending more money. I would look at cost-saving opportunities. I would look at efficiencies and see who does what best and better than we do. I would learn how to make the biggest bang for my buck. And that's what I'm doing here. Because, make no mistake, the highways portfolio is an impossible task because there have been decades of underinvestment. And I'm not pointing fingers or purporting blame. There will be reasons why the multiple previous councils before the unitary councils spent as much or as little as they did on roads. I don't know why. I only know I've inherited a situation where the roads are truly, they're not next door to appalling. About 20% of our roads are satisfactory.
That little. That's actually quite shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I get back to maths. There are 46,500 roads in England and Wales. Okay.
Right.
The Asphalt Industry Association says that to bring them all up to A standard, not A standard, but level A standard, would cost the best part of £16.9 billion.
Shite.
We have 1.2% of those roads in Northampton Council area. Therefore, my pro rata spend needs to be at least 170 million. Okay? We've just won some new funding. It's tremendous. It's 55 million over 5 years. So you can begin to understand the shape of the challenge I've got.
So you've got to divide that all out over
It's almost
5
half
years.
the entire budget of NNC.
Well, I need this much money. I've got this much money. And my job is to stretch it as far as I can stretch it. And that is, so in that area where I can stretch it from this to this is material science, copycat, who does it best, which county, which country does it best, equipment and good practice and the understanding of how we stretch that very small amount of cash we've got to spend here. And within that, we prioritize. So this is where maths comes into it again.
Yep.
So every decision to spend what little we have on the roads that we do have is governed by a reform on the road.
The truck's breaking all the roads. It's the trucks. Blame the trucks.
It's governed by a scientific process. So we have a device that drives down all the 2,800 miles of road that we have in Northamptonshire, effectively once every 6 months. It's got an optical camera with a LiDAR on it, which spots potholes, measures the depth of them, and that's an element of the recording. That's one thing. That's once every 6 months, each road would.
So it's not enough really, is it?
Well, it isn't enough, but it's if
What
you
we've
have
got.
10 of them, that cost would be offset by some other non-spend on adult services, on children's services, or not repairing a
Yeah.
pothole. So again, this is a scientific balance based upon what can we do. Can I just say at this point, we really are dependent on our constituents using Fix My Street and telling us, because these things can happen overnight. They can happen overnight, and going back to maths once more, the LiDAR machine and indeed our inspectors will look at the depth of a pothole, 20, 30, 40 millimetres deep. 40 millimetres is unacceptable under any circumstances. But then after that, it considers the amount of traffic on any road, the speed of, or the average speed of that traffic, and other mitigating factors. For instance, if it's on a corner, if it's on a roundabout. By the way, some major roads in NNC area are not owned by us.
Mm-hmm.
They're owned by the Highways Agency, A45, A14, elements of the A6. But everything else we're on top of, but a little incapable of fixing everything immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Much as we'd like to. So we take those measurements by the LiDAR machine, by the feedback we get from constituents, and we make a priority decision. Those priorities are fourfold. P1, 2, 3, and 4. Surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And P4 would be a relatively shallow pothole on a relatively slow moving road. This is a good example here. There's a lot of traffic on this road.
Yep.
But it's a 30 limit.
And it goes suddenly from 60 to 30 on this road
does,
as well.
But
Yeah.
if you stick to the speed limit here, then the impact of it's not in great condition, this road,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not so bad that it needs instant attention.
Yeah.
If a pothole was to develop much deeper and greater than the ones that are there already, then feedback, we may not spot that on LiDAR for quite some months,
Right.
but feedback from constituents and others that tell us through Fix My Street, this is a deep pothole, I've lost a tyre or a wheel, we're there and on top of it, we'll do the measurements and make a decision based on priority. P1, 24 hours.
Is that when they do the temporary fix?
No, I'll come back to that. It's an interesting
Okay.
point. P2 is a week. P3 is a month, 28 days. P4 is within 6 months.
Right.
And you'll see, as you go down through some marks on the road, yellow and white paint.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people have no idea what that means.
I didn't until very recently.
I don't until you're about to
I've
say
been
this.
doing the job for 55 days now, so, I've
You've had a crash course.
well, okay, I might not use that term, but I can't take your point. I've worked with Cllr and others, other contractors. I might have this back to front, so forgive me. The white paint is scheduled. We've picked it up on LiDAR, we've done an inspection, we've picked it up from feedback, and we say, that's a scheduled repair. It's in for January 26, where we'll pocket all of the geographical repairs around that area and do them then.
So it's not just the one pothole, it's everything around that.
I'll come back to that in a second.
Okay.
That's a really good point. Yellow ones are higher priority and are from feedback.
Right.
So we'll see a yellow one. And we'll deal with that based upon its priority. They tend to be higher priorities, 24 hours, 7 days, or 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's based upon how much we got to spend and where can we afford to spend it. And priority ones are their priority. And if you get a lot of priority ones, guess what? Your priority 2s and 3s get pushed out. Your
Right.
3s become 4s potentially. That's just the reality of the financial situation that we're in.
So it's almost a self-defeating process.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Because there are other things. There are other things that we're looking at in terms of, for instance, material science. So I'm seeing a supplier next week who has an additive for the asphalt that we use on repairs. And the additive reduces the effect of UV. Why are we bothered about that? Tell you in a sec. Reduces the effect of UV, and therefore those potholes with this additive last 20% longer than a standard macadam asphalt repair.
Right.
I worked in the Middle East for 10 years. When I first took this role, people said to me, you'll never be able to get to the bottom of it, Chris. And to some extent, I see that, because every winter you'll have a mark on the roads. You've done a brand new perfect road. A lorry's driven down. Something's fallen off, made a dint in the road. Water gets in.
Yep.
It freezes.
Yep.
And it makes it 100 times
Yep,
worse.
yep.
Yeah.
So I worked in Kuwait and Dubai and Saudi and other places for the best part of 10 years. And they had real pothole problems. Guess what? It almost never rains, and it certainly never freezes.
Mhm.
Okay? UV has a substantial impact on tarmac adam and on asphalt. Okay?
Right.
So it weakens it, and over a period of time, you'll see the surface simply begin to degrade, and that's where potholes start. So, what are we doing? We are, we have some of the latest kit with Cllr. We are looking at curb-to-curb repairs wherever possible. It's punishingly expensive.
Mm-hmm.
All the repairs are paid for by central government.
And the curb-to-curb repairs, that's where you take out an entire strip of the road from curb
Yeah,
to curb,
indeed.
rather than just patching a hole.
And they're better. They're less in the run of things. At the start and end of that patch, you'll still have a challenge whereby they can be picked up by any vehicle, especially large vehicles. People say to me, why don't we start putting a surcharge on HGVs? Poetic. That road tax comes into us circuitously by central government and helps us to pay for the roads. But that amount, as I said at the very start, is nowhere near the amount that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
If we continue at the rate of repair that we have, the best I'll achieve is to maintain the roads in their current condition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't accept that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing the technical, I'm doing the work with contractors around key performance indicators, the inspection piece. 5 out of 6 inspections are done by the contractor himself. I'm going, you mark your own homework.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Unacceptable. So,
It's the same situation with houses, isn't it? Because we get these developers in to build houses. We don't put in enough quality assurance. So we only look at 1 house in 10, for example. And then the houses that we have on these new estates, they look great.
Right.
But then a couple of years later, they start falling apart. Sounds like the exact same situation with potholes.
to some extent it is, but I don't accept it.
Mhm.
I'm now doing this job full time,
Mhm.
and I'm doing it because, well, as you can see, I'm on my motorbike.
Yep.
All right. I've been a biker all my life. Okay. I've quite literally got skin in the game.
Mm.
I am personally invested in this. I've got to make the roads safe for people like me.
Yep.
And I'm doing that by holding the contractor to account. So his performance indicators, the after work measurement. I've recently had appointed another councillor, Councillor Paul Brook,
Yep.
who will be my deputy. He and I are meeting with Cllr tomorrow to finish off our health and safety induction. We've got the kit, the high-vis, the hat, and a reform high-vis. Moving on.
We're all after them.
And I now have each week sent to me a schedule of where we are next week and what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we will turn up prior to or on the work or after the work to inspect it, and we will feed that back. I was at Cllr's board meeting 3 weeks ago, and don't get me wrong, Cllr are a very, very decent business with an impossible task. Okay. And whilst I will never protect them if they make mistakes and expose us in terms of our efforts to repair this, I am a critical friend. Okay. They need to realize that I'm not prepared to accept a laissez-faire repair. We'll find those. So whatever the inspection regime is, us with our LiDAR machine, who will come across repairs that have been recently done, us in terms of taking the feedback from the contractor relative to the inspection that they've done. If they've passed it off as good, we'll go and check it. So Paul and I won't just work on the schedule of activity and go and catch them in work and understand more about it, because I'm not even 2 months in the job. I can't possibly be an expert.
Yeah.
But I'm bothered and I'm invested. And so we'll do all that KPIs. We'll do all the service level agreements. We'll look at contract opportunities. If you want to continue doing this, then these are the standards you need to adhere to, that we will hold you to. And you will feel it if we feel it. Now, I've had a tough week. Talk to me about Steel Road in Corby, but you may have heard me and indeed the RS components roundabout. It's just appalling.
Yeah, the Corby lot keep going on about that quite a bit, don't they?
So with good reason,
So everything that you're putting in place, Chris, why has no one done this before Reform took over?
Is it incompetence?
It sounds like you haven't had many blockers to what you're wanting to do.
Oh, on the contrary.
Yeah.
The officers are delighted. Even Cllr welcome my intervention. And all I'm doing is making them pay bloody attention.
Is that why people have been able to notice a noticeable difference on some of the road repairs, what have been getting done? Excuse the bike.
Friend of yours?
Yeah, he's not doing 30.
Joys have been reform on the road, but is that the reason why we're seeing a noticeable difference on the repair work? It's like, you go over Corby, some of the roads over there are looking a lot better than what they have been for a long time.
Look, I take no credit, okay? I want to take a smidgen of credit for the work we're going to do on Station Road in Burton Latimer, in Earls Barton. You're Burton Latimer.
Yeah, we're better than that.
Yeah. I'll come to your roads. Do you know that, by the way, we're putting traffic lights on the A6?
Yes.
Yep.
We don't put that in.
Today's been put back until September. I don't know why, but maybe one of those reasons that I mentioned before in terms of the squeeze on funds. Look, I take no credit for the work that's being done there because it was scheduled by officers whenever it was scheduled. We have been lucky enough to win a multi-year funding settlement from central government. This is the 55.4 million.
What you were going on about earlier.
Yes, indeed. And that is 7.5 this year, 11, 12, and growing to 2030.
Hang on a second.
What a dick. Well, that's on 3 cameras.
Part of my remit is road safety. Perhaps.
I wonder if we're going to leave that in as like all turning around to watch that person. Actually, it could be quite funny to see that.
This is a tough job. You can only stay light-hearted about it because, work is serious. And you should be serious about work. I don't take myself too seriously while I'm doing it. Okay. But I have this laser focus on how things are going to be. And as I said in chamber on the, 26th of June, I'm the 24th. When we finish this term of administration, the roads will be better than they were at the start. Because not only will we just rely on funding, we will be moving in terms of the technical, in terms of the practical, in terms of the best practice, in terms of the best kit. Okay. We've got some really sexy equipment. I don't know if it's the best in the market, but I'll find out.
Yeah.
And we'll replace it or exchange it or borrow and test and trial other equipment to get to a place whereby we're doing more and quicker.
Yeah.
Let me just wrap that part with one achievement I would like to take credit for. And
Please do.
At my first board meeting with Cllr, I explained to them that when you send a gang out to do a series of white painted repairs, and there are 4 of them, but there are 7 smaller potholes down the street, okay? People think we're idiots by not repairing them all because we're there. And they would say, but they don't mathematically comply in terms of the priority importance. And I get that. So they've agreed, and we've seen evidence already. I'll give you some photographs to show it.
Drum roll.
To do temporary patching for those repairs, pending a further patching when they were ultimately prioritised later on. So you'll see 4 major repairs on a road, proper pothole repairs, and some patching with the letter T in white paint.
Standing for temporary.
Quite so, yes, indeed. And my demand of them, I require their motto to be, no issue left behind. Literally, no fault in that road. Wherever possible. It's not always possible, you know. Roads like this have got multiple small potholes on. I suspect it would be very difficult on a busy road to repair all those, even temporarily, without having a massive impact on traffic flow. Because that's another consideration. All these things have to be planned with local businesses. One of our obligations is to keep commerce moving. So traffic needs to keep moving. You may have heard me say in executive yesterday, day before, that we're spending $500,000 on the A6 bridge over the River Nen at Eglin Borough, where we are now. And that is because the waterproofing that retains the lower decks has failed. And if we don't deal with that, cost of £500,000 a go, then that bridge will fail. And without that bridge, then the A6 is essentially
useless.
Yes, quite. We're going to do that by weekend work. There'll be full closures over a weekend, probably for 2 or 3 weekends starting next year. Then the following year, we'll do some more, 2 or 3 weekends, spending over 3 years. So we don't avoid the bridge being closed for a week. So we reduce the impact on commerce, and therefore we retain the service of that bridge for a lot longer than would otherwise be the case if we just ignored it.
The important thing is, Chris, it's getting done. It's getting done.
Thank you.
And it's how long have we been in office now? Just coming up to
56 days now, is it?
56 days.
There you are.
And look what you already achieved. Yeah, and I do agree with that. One of the things what Nigel promised us during the campaign in Birmingham when he drove in with that JCB digger, is that something we're going to get over in?
Yeah, we've had some questions about that.
Yeah.
So that is the Pothole Pro.
Any good?
It sounds like something off a TikTok shop.
With all that, all the councillors have had letters in the post from JCB saying it's fantastic, it's
Directly
amazing.
to my address,
and I will see it. In January this year, the previous administration voted against the motion to buy 2 Pothole Pros. Okay? Instead, we bought a device called Road Mender. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it tomorrow, as it turns out, as part of my health and safety induction with Cllr. Road Mender is a device that does the curb to curb, does fast pothole repairs as well. I've had mixed reports about both of them. The JCB Pothole Pro is almost certainly state of the art. There are some questions I need answered, not least the fact that they're £186,500 a piece. Okay?
Just a few pennies, then.
I'd like a couple of them. We'd have to borrow money to buy them. They're not in the budget. Are they better than Road Mender by the amount that it is the difference? I don't know. But I'm a fan. I know that there are some challenges in terms of downtime for the cutting blades and things like that. But I also know that in full flight, they can repair a pothole for £13.
And one person.
No, there's still a team behind to do the
Okay.
things like that. Okay. So there's still a gang, but the Pothole Pro cuts, cleans, resurfaces. The gang behind then put in the asphalt, and the Pothole Pro then finishes that off and tidies up. The gang then put in the edges, and the Pothole Pro then rolls it flat. And I know that we can do that. In fact, they have one in West Northamptonshire.
Yeah.
It is very good. So good, in fact, that after 6 months, they've had to mothball it because it was so quick that the budget ran out for raw material to fill the potholes that it could repair. So there's a whole balance in terms of money, there's a whole balance in terms of best equipment and best kit. And that is something that we'll get to the bottom of. I would say by the end of this calendar year, I will probably know everything that needs to be known about making this really successful. And I will never stop badgering those people with their hands on the purse strings to give us more money to do this. It's always going to be a challenge because we have all these statutory responsibilities to provide other services. Fixing roads is not a statutory responsibility, but it's bloody common sense so you can keep people safe.
Yes.
Especially bikers.
I'm reminded of
we have a
Tony Webster.
Tony Webster,
he was one of the candidates that ran in one of the wards in Kettering. You might recognise him.
He goes around with a dog.
Council meetings sometimes. Got a little dog, Penny, lovely guy.
He's the guy who had the accident from hitting a pothole.
That's the guy.
That's what we were bringing up.
That's the guy. That's exactly
and
why
he's
he has the dog.
got memory issues from that.
I know. No, I don't know the details of that. And of course, I would like to understand more so that we can be definitive about the reason for that. Look, I've hit a pothole on my bike and it threw me up in the air and I almost lost control. As a biker, got to tell you, the roads have got to be better. Okay. And, I even received a complaint from a constituent this week that says, are you waiting for a motorcyclist to be killed before you do anything about it? And of course, we're pedaling furiously, but how do you eat an elephant?
Still have limitations,
Rome wasn't built in a day. Rome took time to build roads all over Europe. But I think the important thing is we've got Councillor McGiffen on it.
Right.
You're doing this full time.
Yep.
You got an army of council, senior leadership team, officers, road gangs behind you.
And we've got brilliant support from officers.
I was about to say, can we just applaud our officers at Northamptonshire Council and probably Cllr to a certain extent because they're all pulling all the stops out to make all this possible.
Cllr are not the bad guys here. Okay. Cllr, by virtue of the demands we place on them, which ebbs and flows, by the way, you can't really do repairs in winter. In winter, half of the team are out gritting, clearing gullies, clearing snow, and all the things that go with that. Those same teams will be on road repairs in the summer. If, however, in the summer your road repairs are greater than the sum of all that capability, you have to subcontract some of it, especially some of the major stuff. The issues we had around the RS components roundabout was with a subcontractor. They're repairing that at their own cost. But it's a massive inconvenience to businesses and to the general public who have to use that. And I drove over it yesterday with a very disgruntled constituent who wanted to show me the state of the roads in Corby. I knew, but my job is to serve. Our job is to serve. And I wanted to hear firsthand the level of frustration and disappointment. And I heard it. Okay. I'm completely invested. Like I say, I will work from dawn till dusk, as seems to be the demand at the minute. To get to a place where this is in a much better place. I can never pretend to fix it all. This is Fourth Road Bridge sort of stuff, you know what I mean? You get to the end, there's still some more, what have you. But if we had all the money, so our proportion of the repair required 170 million quid. If they gave me 170 million quid tomorrow, take me 10 years to get through that because otherwise there'd be gridlock everywhere.
You can't just shut down every road at once to repair, and then you need tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people.
We could dial in other contractors, of course we could. And we could get to a place where we go, done. And the minute it's done, it started again, because that's the nature of this.
And we've got winter this year to go through, and it's just going to be a losing battle during the winter, isn't it, really?
And we've had really sunny days over the past month or so. That's probably contributed to the UV problem that you mentioned earlier.
In winter, P1s are still P1s. You may get more of them by virtue of the corrosion issues around salt and freezing and defrosting and things like that. I haven't had a winter yet. I've done many winters in my previous lives, which has been mostly in transport. Has been quite a lot in cross-border distribution. Has been quite a lot in fulfillment more widely. So I'm aware of the condition of roads and how crucial that is. So I kind of think that I was born to do this. It's right in my sweet spot.
Well,
you've reached your final form, basically.
Well, hopefully Councillor Gibbs agrees with me, but we would like to touch base with you again, probably in about half a year or something, so we can catch up with you, see what happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us the highlights, tell us the lowlights, and tell us your experience.
What I've got Cllrs and officers to do is to report monthly.
Yeah.
How many potholes have we repaired? Okay. How does that compare? What have we spent? Where are we working? And lots of other detail, and boiled down per capita. And we'll then measure it and compare it to other unitary councils or similar sized councils. So we can hold their feet to the fire and hold up the numbers and say, this is how you're doing. This is where we need you to be.
So this is what people want to know.
Yeah.
So
Cllr have got a 7-year contract.
yeah,
They're starting year 4 now. Okay. So they're here for another 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we've got 4 years to get them to a place, if that's possible. And if we can afford that spend to help get them to that place.
right.
And in between times, I'll help them get to a place of quality that you could debate is in place. I don't know them well enough. They could be the best out there.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they are, we've got a challenge, but that's no disrespect to them. I support what they do and how they are, and people should not decry them because they only do what we tell them to do, or we allow them to do. It's our schedule. We measure it, LiDAR machine, feedback on Fix My Street. We tell them what to do and where their priorities lie. And, you know, any existing measurement seems to be doing okay based upon all the limitations that we have.
Yeah, and Cllr do get a lot of flack, but we need to remember as well, we're not the only county in the country with the pothole problem.
Oh.
It's nationwide, isn't it?
We're not the only county with a funding problem. Yep. We're not the only, and Cllr's not the only company doing this. Cllr's not the only company doing this as well. It's happening all over the country. But we've got Chris McGiffen on it. We've got a good team in the council on it. And what I'm hoping is, with yourself at the tip of that spear, is we'll start to climb the rankings when it comes to roads.
I'm confident we will.
As part of making,
it's all part of our mission to be
the best council,
the number one
in the county,
in the entire
in
country,
the nation.
in the country.
Well, we've got to beat West Northampton, haven't we? So
that's easy. That's easy. That's easy.
So, but if there's one thing you would like to say to our constituents, what would it be?
Trust us. Trust us, because we live in a land of common sense. This is Reform. Reform is a common sense party. We want to do what's possible with whatever we've got. We want to drive opportunity into road repair, into highways, into highway safety, into all things transport. We'll do what we can do. In between times, we've got what we have. You have to trust me and this party.
Big responsibility, Chris.
I'm there. I'm up for it.